There's a specific kind of confusion that nobody talks about. It's not heartbreak, it's not rejection. It's the in-between Gualan where you genuinely cannot tell if someone feels something for you, or if you've been building a whole story in your head. And the worst part isn't the uncertainty. The worst part is that you can't ask, because asking feels like detonating a bomb in the middle of something fragile. So you watch, you analyze, you go back and forth between there's definitely something there and I'm completely imagining this, and somehow that loop is more exhausting than either answer would be. Here's what you need to understand about why that loop exists and how to actually break it. The false belief most guys carry into the situation is that hidden feelings are just hidden. That if someone liked you and wasn't saying it, there would be no evidence, no signal, nothing to work with. So they wait. They treat it like a locked box with no key. They tell themselves they'll know when something changes, and in the meantime, they stay passive and hope. That belief keeps you stuck because it's wrong. Hidden feelings are not the same as absent feelings. Feelings that haven't been spoken still create behavior. The body leaks what the mouth won't say. And once you know what you're looking for, you stop being lost in the noise. Here's the reframe. People hide feelings for one reason almost every time, sirs. They're afraid of what happens if they show them. Afraid of rejection. Afraid of changing the dynamic. Afraid of being wrong about what they thought they felt. That fear doesn't erase the feeling. It just routes it underground. And underground, it still creates patterns. What you're looking for is not a single obvious sign. You're looking for a cluster of small behaviors that don't quite add up to indifference, because genuine indifference is actually very consistent. It's flat. It's easy. Indifference doesn't fidget. Suppressed feelings fidget. Red one. They treat you differently than they treat other people. The mistake. Guys look for positive signals, specifically geared big smiles, extended eye contact, obvious warmth. But the tell is often contrast, not intensity. So the psychology here draws from what researchers call differential behavior. The idea that how we treat someone relative to others reveals our emotional orientation toward them. Someone who is loose and relaxed with everyone else, but slightly more careful, more deliberate around you, that asymmetry is meaningful. And watch how she interacts with people she genuinely doesn't care about. Now, notice what changes when you're involved. Is she funnier, more aware of herself, quieter? Any shift from her baseline toward you is data. Read. 2. She gives you information she doesn't need to give. The mistake. Waiting for grand gestures or obvious flirting. Meanwhile, the real signal is happening in plain conversation. Like, when someone is indifferent to you, they answer your questions and move on. When someone is thinking about you, they overshare slightly. They add context that wasn't requested. They tell you things about their life that don't come up unless someone wants to be known by the other person. Example, you mention you like a certain kind of music. Pure indifference gives you, oh cool. Hidden interest gives you, wait, really? My brother got me into that. I've been obsessed lately. That addition is an offering. It's an opening. What to do? Notice when answers are longer than the question required. That's not filler. That's someone who wants you to stay in the conversation. Read. 3. She's inconsistent in ways that feel personal. The mistake, interpreting inconsistency as disinterest. She was warm yesterday and distant today, so she must not like me. Here's the reality. Emotional suppression is exhausting to maintain. When someone is managing feelings, their guard fluctuates. Some days they let more through, other days they overcorrect. The inconsistency itself, like that push and pull, is often a stronger signal than steady warmth would be. Actual disinterest is boringly consistent. It doesn't run hot and cold, it just runs flat. Read 4. She notices things about you that require sustained attention. This one is simple and underrated. People pay attention to what interests them. It's not a choice. It's just how the brain allocates processing power. If she remembers something small you mentioned weeks ago, like a detail, a preference, something offhand, she was listening at a level that doesn't happen by accident. If she notices when you cut your hair, when you seem quieter than usual, when something's off, like she is watching you the way people watch things. They care about what to do. Test this gently. Drop something small and personal in conversation, not a test question, just something real. See if it shows up again later. If it does, you were never as unnoticed as you feared. Read 5. Unnecessary proximity without obvious reason. Not all signals are verbal. Pay attention to where she positions herself physically. People unconsciously move toward what attracts them and away from what doesn't. If she finds reasons to be near you that don't quite need explanation, sitting closer than the situation requires, staying in a conversation past the natural endpoint, creating overlap in spaces you both occupy. That's not coincidence accumulating. That's preference expressing itself without words. The payoff: once you start noticing physical proximity as a signal rather than a neutral fact, you stop feeling invisible. And when you stop feeling invisible, you start showing up differently, which changes everything. Here's the truth underneath all of this. Most feelings that stay hidden aren't hidden because they're weak. They're hidden because they're real enough to feel risky. Nobody bothers concealing something they don't care about. So if you've been reading someone carefully and finding these patterns, the inconsistency, the attention, the unnecessary extras, trust what you're seeing. Not as proof, but as permission. Permission to stop treating uncertainty like a wall and start treating it like a door. The connection you're hoping for is almost never born from a perfect moment. It's born from two people who both stop waiting for the other one to go first. If this gave you something to actually work with, subscribe. More psychology, less noise every week.